Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Play Tales of Xillia. In the last episode, it was actually kind of a rather lengthy episode, we went up to the hill where Balan had found us when we entered Elympios, going through Rossell High Road through Xillia Fortress. And we found out that there's a portal leading to the Temple Crossroads there. We went and spent the night for a good night, and we came back. We had a meeting with Gaius. He gave us a way to the Temple Crossroads to face him. And in the end of the episode, we ended up here in the final dungeon, the Temple Crossroads. But first, before we even consider doing any of that, we're actually going to be doing a bunch of side quests. Because you saw at the very end of the episode, there was a bunch of side quests that popped up open to us. This is in-game. I'm going to tell you right now, at this point, this is your last save point in the entire game to go and do. So if you decide to go any further, you're going straight to the final bosses. But like I said, we're going to be taking care of a bunch of side quests before we go into the final dungeon. But right here, I went ahead and went back here to Triglyph, and there's actually a sub-event here. That's a big house. Let's go ahead and listen to this one.
Pop quiz! How many people do you think live in one of those giant houses in Triglyph?
Have you always liked pop quizzes this much? I've never noticed after all this time. Oh, I know. Did your love of pop quizzes awaken while I was dead?
She's always liked pop quizzes.
Oh.
I love how casual of a conversation that is. But anyways, that is your indication to come here to Triglyph for a certain event. I'm going to be saying that. If you remember one of the rooms I pointed out a couple episodes ago, there was an old woman in there. That is a skit that kind of gives you an indication to go do so. But anyways, let's go back here, and we're going to be talking with the ladies again that are spreading rumors around here in Elympios. So this is going to be the second part of that sub-event. So let's go forward, and let's go ahead and finish this up.
Have you heard the news? The Sven family finally settled on a new patriarch.
Took them long enough. Didn't the old patriarch die in that Zenithra accident 20 years ago?
Along with his wife, son, and younger brother. Talk about a tragedy.
Hey, the real tragedy was the heirs fighting for his title. That sure wasn't pretty. That only lasted, what, close to 2 decades?
Nothing like a family feud to brighten up a day.
Tell me about it. You wouldn't want to be anywhere near when me and my daughter-in-law fight.
Definitely wouldn't want to see that.
Sven? Hey, Alvin?
Yep, that's my family. They're pretty famous here in Elympios.
And where does Gillen fall?
He was my dad's little brother, and the head of one of the lesser Sven lines. He always resented my family for having the stronger position in the line of succession. But then my dad died in the accident that left us stranded on Riza Maxia, leaving a young me and my helpless mother to fend for ourselves.
And Gillen saw that as a chance for revenge.
Worse. He took advantage of the situation and tried to legally steal my claim to the family leadership. He used the Sven name to create Exodus and push the Otherworld reactor plan. All so that when he eventually came back to Elympios, he could claim the family mantle for himself.
He spent 20 years scheming from a whole other world?
Yep. Even I got to admire my uncle's persistence.
So if we hadn't stopped him...
I'd probably have been erased the moment his plan succeeded.
What about now? Are you gonna go back home?
You heard the ladies. There's no place for me there anymore. Besides, I've been a feral dog for too long now. I couldn't rejoin the noble elite.
Then...
You're all stuck with me.
Oh.
You could at least try to hide your disappointment.
That was actually gonna be like, you could try to hide your disappointment. It's like, I know you're mad at me that I'm with you, but that was the end of that quest. That is called Rumors in Elympios. Like I said before, there was 2 parts. One when we got here in Elympios, and one when you came back after the other one. But here.
I wonder what Drusella's doing now.
She's probably busy missing you.
I do hope the loss of Lord Klein hasn't been too hard on her.
That sub-event tells us to go back to Sherrilton. We're going to be doing that later. Don't you mind it from now. This is the point in the game where you need to finish up the side quests that you have started and do the new ones and stuff like that. So just keep that in mind. This is the point of where you can just pretty much roam free the whole entire world and then just, you know, do all the side quests that you want to do. But actually what I was trying to do here is I'm trying to initiate a certain event. If you come up here to the 3rd floor.
There was a family of cows beneath the tree at the top of the hill, with 1 bull and 2 sows. That's Muse's voice!
I thought Muse was with Gaius.
We should check inside.
No, wait. There's a human in there with her. We need to be careful.
When Billy found them, he said, "Hey, which one's the wife and which one's the mistress?" What kind of story is this? What are you doing?
Let's go. Where's Muse? I know she was here.
I don't know. Are you friends of hers? Did Muse leave already?
Are you okay?
You seem a little bit off, Granny.
Muse must have gone out the window.
Are you better now?
Yes, sweetheart. Thank you.
Your eyes.
I appreciate your concern, dear.
Can you see us?
I can sense you. I may be blind to light, but I've learned how to see other things.
I need to ask you something. I know Muse was here. What was she doing?
Before I answer, could you explain to me why you're so interested in her?
Well,
Mila is Muse's sister.
Elise.
Shh. Let's just make this easy for everyone, okay?
Muse's sister?
Yes.
Very well, since it sounds like you don't mean Muse any harm. I first met her 5 years ago when my daughter and I were involved in a terrible accident. Muse happened to be there, and she saved my life. Unfortunately, my daughter was not so lucky.
She saved your life?
She told me she only did it on a whim. But even though I had survived, I had lost my will to live. My beloved daughter, who had read to me every day, was gone. But one day, I asked Muse if she would read to me instead.
And she said yes?
She did, but I could tell that she hated it at first. Just another of her whims, I suppose.
No way!
I can't believe it.
She is a very kind girl, you know. And a little bit timid, but I suppose that's true of most girls her age. I'm sure you have your reasons for chasing her. I certainly won't try to stop you. But if I may, I'd ask that you please try not to hurt her.
Mila?
I understand how you feel.
Good. That's wonderful.
Why are you smiling?
I'm just relieved to hear that.
So, we just finished the Sisterhood event. You know that one event that we started back way in Chapter 2? When we saw those 2 sisters fighting with one another? Yeah, we just finished it. That was the last event requirement we needed to finish that event. And we actually learned a bunch of stuff about Muse on a kinder note. But if you come into this door right here, you'll activate another sub-event. So let's go, without further ado, let's go inside.
Gotta find a way to push the Otherworld reactor plan forward.
Were you involved in the plan's creation?
Hmm? And who might you all be?
Oh, we're from Riza, Max.
I'm a relative of Gilland Yul's event. I was hoping you could educate this group about the Otherworld reactor plan.
you're with Gilland. Oh, I apologize for my rudeness. I work at the Department of Otherworld Affairs.
Figured it'd go smoother this way.
I presume your department deals with issues related to Riza Maxia?
Correct. As you're no doubt aware, we Olympians have passed down legends of another world since antiquity.
Every kid knows the story of the spirit Maxwell and the utopia he created for his followers, Riza Maxia. But from around the time I was born, scholars and politicians started taking that story seriously.
Correct. That was because we detected an unusual distortion in space. Our research suggested that vast amounts of energy could be circulating beyond the distortion. That discovery led to the creation of the Department of Otherworld Affairs' predecessor, the Next Gen Energy Bureau. They developed equipment to widen the distortion and study what was on the other side. Things were going well at first.
Then the equipment went haywire, and a passenger ship near the experimental site, the ESS Zenithra, disappeared without a trace.
The incident 20 years ago.
Everyone thought the experiment had failed, but it hadn't. Several years later, we received a transmission straight from Gilland. He told us that he and the Zenithra had been sucked into the other world, and that he had since created a device that could punch a hole through the spatial distortion.
And that he found a solution to Elympios' energy problems to boot.
That's right. His plan was to use the energy circulating throughout this other world as a reactor.
So what will happen to the people on that world?
Are you with the anti-governmentalists? Right now, the opposition party is using the issue of otherworld people's rights as a shield to try and block the otherworld reactor plan. Yet they have no alternative solution for our energy problem. Elympios has long since passed the point where we can solve our problems with idealistic jargon.
So you supported the otherworld reactor plan, fully aware of the consequences?
You're damn right I did, and I continue to support it wholeheartedly.
Forget it, Mila. There's no point in trying to change his mind.
I know. My duty remains unchanged. Do everything I can to stop the plan from succeeding.
Politics. Don't you just love it? But yeah, you come in here after the event, unlocking the temporal crossroads. You go up to that door, you'll activate that little cutscene. And that one's called the Otherworld Reactor Plan, if you couldn't tell. But we have done everything in Triglyph's apartments, in other words, except for this. We come back to Balan's room. We had a sub-event that actually said, go and check up on Balan. He's got a side quest for us. Let's go ahead and talk to him.
I imagine you must know lots of embarrassing stories about Alvin.
I do. In fact, embarrassing stories might be the only Alvin stories I know.
This I gotta hear.
Shall I tell you one?
One more word and you're dead to me forever.
Well now, this is a conundrum. I know. How about a bet?
Truly an Olympian's answer to everything.
Now, Alfred, you know better than that. Gambling is a long and proud Olympian tradition. It has some bad points, but it has good ones too.
Would we be betting money?
Certainly not. We can choose to bet anything we like. For example, we could bet on whether or not you can find a light leaf clover. If you can, you win, and I'll air out some of Alfred's dirty laundry.
What's a light leaf clover?
It's a clover with golden leaves that grows on the sides of roads.
Olympians consider it a good luck charm. I've heard they once grew along Rasal High Road.
Then this should be a piece of cake. You got yourself a bet, buddy.
So betting is a hallowed Olympian tradition? I'm a little intrigued myself.
Okay, let's go check out Rusal High Road.
Hey, wait a minute. It's been ages since a light leaf clover was seen on the high road, and some say they might be extinct.
Alfred, are you really going to waste my magnanimity?
This is why I hate gambling.
Okay, so now we have a bet to take with Balan. First, we have a sub-event here. Let's go ahead and listen to this one.
Sounds like our best chance to find a light leaf clover is on the Rusal High Road.
It's a clover with sun-colored leaves, right? Let the hunt begin!
So this one's just supposed to just remind you, saying, hey, in order to finish this, you need to go to Rusal High Road and find the light leaf clover. Now, you're probably wondering, well, how am I supposed to find that? That seems like a random, dropping, bags and stuff and little sparklies on the wall. No, they actually kind of changed the environment a little bit so that way you know where the light-leaf clover is. If you go up to the north portion of Rasal High Road, kind of where Graddock Claw was wandering around, you will find a batch of grass there that'll be glowing bright yellow. That is the grass that you need to go to find the light-leaf clover. And I know I'm going around checking for materials and stuff. It's better to do that. But you guys see these sparklies right here? If you go near it and try to check it.
Is this a light leaf clover?
Yeah, that's it. Damn it, Balan told me these things were extinct.
Extinct? You thought they were extinct and let us bet anyway?
No, well, yeah, basically.
Well, all's well that ends well. It's a miracle.
We've traveled to an entirely different world, and this is what qualifies as a miracle to you?
Damn, I thought we got them all, but it looks like we missed one. You there, hand over that clover if you know what's good for you.
Huh? Who the heck are you? We found this fair and square.
If anyone else finds a clover, we lose our bet. If you won't hand it over, we'll take it by force.
Yeah, we're fighting a bunch of tactician veterans because they made a bet with somebody to get rid of the light-leaf clover. See why gambling's not a good thing, kids? Gambling is actually, it can be fun, but sometimes it'll get your life in danger. These guys are pretty easy. They shouldn't give you too much trouble at this level. You should be really high enough level to take these guys on. They're nothing but reskin colored enemies that we've seen before with these flamethrowers and stuff like that. I know the flamethrower enemies are probably the most annoying foot soldier enemies we can fight, but they're not too bad. It's just beat the ever-living crap out of them, just like any other normal enemy. But with that, we defeated the tactician veteran.
Why would they just attack us like that? And what did they mean about a bet?
Wait a minute.
Do you know something?
Best not to talk out here. Let's go back to Balan's.
Yes! Now we get to hear an embarrassing story about Alvin.
This is why I hate gambling.
If you remember that skit a long time ago. Anyways, we have another skit here. Once you find the light-leaf clover, it'll just simply remind you to go back to Balan.
Let's bring the light leaf clover back to Balan.
And then we get our story. This is gonna be good.
I don't know if I mentioned this, but sub-event skits like that, the really tiny short ones, they do count towards your sub-event superhero trophy, whatever it is. They do count, so I just wanted to keep that in mind. But if you remember that skit like way earlier in the Let's Play, I then kind of described Alvin's disgust with gambling in general. This sub-event kind of cements that into place. He really doesn't like gambling because, well, Balan tricked him. He told him that, hey, these things are extinct. But he let him bet anyways because he knew how Alvin was. Balan is smarter than Alvin, and that's why I think he's a good family member for Alvin, because he knows how to outwit his lies and everything. But yeah, so as soon as we get the light leaf clover, just simply go back to Balan's apartment and talk to him. So without further ado, let's go inside.
Holy, I can't believe you actually found a light leaf clover. If we'd have bet money, you'd have made a killing.
All right, make with the embarrassing stories.
Oh well, a bet's a bet.
Which one are you going to tell them?
Let's make it the one about this very clover. When Alvin was 5 years old, he wanted to do something for Aunt for his mother's birthday. He came up with the idea of giving her a crown made entirely out of light leaf clovers.
Sounds like that could be difficult.
Right. Even back then, they were quite hard to find. So little Alvin thought long and hard about what to do. After a lot of thought, he came up with the idea of painting regular clovers the color of light-leaf clovers.
That's brilliant!
Is it? He gave it to Leticia before the paint was dry, and she ended up getting it all over her hair. Alvin was even more surprised at this than Leticia was, and he started bawling his eyes out. Out of habit, he buried his face in her hair as he tried to apologize, and ended up getting paint all over his face too. The end.
That's so cute!
That was a wonderful story.
You really loved your mother, didn't you, Alvin?
I'll get you for this, Balan.
Talking about Leticia has put me in the mood for one of her peach pies. They were absolute perfection. I'd give anything for one more bite, but unfortunately, it's not to be.
Balan, you hang on to those memories. She may never have made it back to Elympios, but at least we can keep her memory alive.
Even if you asked me to, I could never forget about her, or about you, naturally.
I'm glad I made it back.
That's one thing that I really advise everybody to do is try doing these sub-events. You do learn a lot from them, and you kind of really do see more character development out of these sub-events than, you know, regular main story and stuff. Like that little bit about his mother and everything. You could really tell that Alvin did care about his mother a lot, and it's really sad that she's no longer here anymore. And Balan loved her too. It's really nice to see that. But anyways, why I warped back here at Helioborg. What we're doing in Helioborg Fortress is we're going back in to the...
No way! I can see now. Thank you so much.
Oh, really? That's wonderful.
Wait, aren't you from Riza Maxia?
You all are too?
How did you get here?
Hey, can you believe it? I can see now. It's all thanks to this spyrite this lady made for me.
They're already making spyrites?
This must be Balan's doing.
Whoa, this place is amazing.
We're getting some very valuable data here, all thanks to the cooperation of these Riza Maxians.
Have you learned something?
Oh yes, many things. For example, we've confirmed that Olympians and Riza Maxians are biologically identical.
Really? But I thought Olympians didn't have manalobes.
As it turns out, Olympians have the same manalobe region that Riza Maxians do. The only difference is that ours has devolved to the point where it no longer functions.
Makes sense. Sometimes you got the lucky ones who can still use arts without Spyrex.
It's very, very rare, of course. They're usually famous entertainers or religious figures.
So why did your manalobes devolve in the first place?
One reason is that we no longer needed to use them once we developed Spyrex. But the biggest reason
is that Maxwell took all the people with developed manalobes when he created Riza Maxia.
Correct. In legends, this is referred to as the Great Departure. When Riza Maxia's existence was confirmed, and we learned that the legend was true, it was a huge surprise, not just in scientific circles, but to all people of Olympios.
So basically, we're all the same kind of human, and we're all from the same world, right? Then I'm sure we can all work together, just like you guys are doing here. What's the matter?
Wait a minute. How did these people get to Elympios?
Well,
Given the current circumstances, there is only one possible explanation.
They were brought here under duress after your military invaded Riza Maxia, correct?
What's duress?
As an Olympian, I apologize for the actions of our military. But I promise you their rights have not been violated. They're cooperating with us of their own free will.
What else could we do? There's no way for us to go home.
Really? I kinda like it here, to be honest with you. Back there, I was just a fisherman. But here, I can help save an entire world. If this research succeeds, the repercussions will be huge. Right, Dr. Balan?
Absolutely. And I'll make sure you're properly rewarded for your cooperation.
We don't need your rewards. Just get us back to Maxia. I know what we're doing here could help the people of this world. But is it so crucial that you had to rob us of our lives?
I know we're acting very selfish here. I do understand. But we Olympians are quickly reaching a point where we may not survive without help. Please, help us.
I'm sorry. No, I shouldn't have said that. This shouldn't have been one of the first things for you to see. I'm sorry.
I've never seen Balan so desperate.
But the Maxians do have a point.
Yeah.
In the end, we're all human. I guess that's what makes this so difficult.
But yes, we kind of learned a little stunning detail that they did find Maxians and brought them here to help, you know, the Olympians develop spy rights to help them be able to live without using Spyrex. Which, you know, it is kind of, in a way, unethical. It is, actually, it is unethical. What am I talking about? And that's where the biggest problem comes in. This is a big, you know, conflict with morals. It's just like, you need help, but the people that are going to help you, you know, and you just take them, you practically kidnap them, take them away, thousands upon thousands of miles away from their home to help you survive and stuff like that. Yeah, it's really hard. It's just like, is this ethical and stuff like that? Even though if they're completely, you know, willing to help, it's still unethical. But we have pretty much done everything in Elympios when it comes to side quests, all for one. We still have one more, but I'm going to do that later, and you'll understand why whenever it comes to that. But at this point, I would strongly suggest taking any materials you have and leveling up your shop. That's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm around level 70 at this point for weapons, especially. Armor is getting there. I think it's going to get to, yeah, it's going to get to 70 right now. So you should be around this level, and it shouldn't take you too long to max out everything. But you should be in the high 70s at this point. And at this point, they'll be starting to give you really good gear. Now, you won't get the best gear, and I forgot to mention this, you will not be able to get the best weapons, armor, and accessories and stuff like that. You won't be able to get that until you get to level 100. And that, my friends, is a chore to do, because it may seem like, oh, we're doing just fine, we only got 25 more levels to go on weapons. It gets pretty harder up whenever you get to the 90s. When you get to the level 90s on your shop, that's when they're going to start demanding so much experience points from you. And it's just ridiculous. Now, I'm going ahead and buying these new weapons and stuff like that because I actually have a bunch of gold. So, I'll be able to do so. And I also sell every old stuff that I have because I don't need it anymore. And it's just, you know, cluttering up space and everything. And I do that with every RPG. If I have, like, new stuff and it's strong as my old stuff, and I don't really need the old stuff, unless it really has like a unique ability, like if it does something else, I'll hang on to it. But if it's old and it's just, you know, just there, just collecting dust, I'm just gonna sell it. That's kind of what I do. And you guys can kind of hear the pipsqueak talk and everything. But after all that, this is kind of what my characters are looking at when it comes to doing this. I'm kind of going ahead and equipping all this stuff that I can. I did get Persian boots. Now, Persian boots are the strongest boots in the game. I know. When you look at this, you're probably going to be thinking, how in the world is this the strongest? But yeah, you think rare boots would be the strongest, but no, it's not. Persian boots are a lot stronger than rare boots. And Persian boots are pretty much the strongest defensive and offensive accessory in the entire game when it comes to that. You can use other accessories like that increase your resistances and stuff like that, and other special abilities. But I personally like to put on boots because it really increases my defense and offensive capabilities. But this is kind of what the build I have right now with everybody. This is kind of where I'm at right now with all the weapons and armor and stuff like that. I only was able to buy one pair of Persian boots because they are really expensive. Of course, this is endgame kind of items, so they're going to be super expensive. And you, I hate to say it, you don't get very much gold from fighting monsters and stuff like that. Unless you're using, you know, food items that increases the amount of gold you get from every store. You can also get gold from DLC and stuff like that. But I'd rather not really use DLC. I'm kind of a purist when it comes to this kind of games. But that's kind of where we're at right now with our materials and our characters and stuff like that. But anyways, in the next episode of Let's Play Tales of Xillia, we are going to be continuing doing all these side quests left to do in this game. So with that, I will see you guys in the next episode.